Are you feeling lost? Are you feeling anxious? Do you feel like you're alive but not really living? Well, those are the topics that I'm going to be addressing in today's video. And the title of today's video is Be in the Present at All Time, or Be in the Present Moment at All Times, right? So without going on too much, I'm going to just get straight into it, right? So what is being present? What is so-called being in the present moment? And what is the definition of being present, right? I'm going to have the definition pop up right here as I'm reading it along. So here it is, right? Present. We are aware and mindful of what is happening at this very moment, right? So pretty much self-explanatory, real simple, right? You'll be able to understand this just by, going throughout day-to-day life, right? Like the definition says, just being mindful and aware of what is going on in that very moment, right? Some examples of this. If you're cooking, you're mindful of what you're cooking. You're mindful of, cutting the onions, you know what I mean? Making sure you sauteing the onions, putting water in there so they don't burn, stuff like that. Writing, you're focusing on the task at hand, writing whatever that may be, an essay, a story, whatever that may be. You're focused on what is happening at that very moment. Listening, if you're listening to this video, which hopefully you are being present as you're listening to this video, right? You're just focusing on what's happening in that very moment. That is the essence, and that is the overall definition of being present. Focusing on what's going on in that very moment. Not any outside distractions. Not worrying about what happened in the past. What happened an hour ago. What's going to happen 2 weeks from now. Just that very, centered moment. Right then and there, right? Not too hard to explain, not too hard to understand, right? So with that being said, I'm going to go on into the second point, right? And basically the premise of the title, right? Being the present at all times, right? So you may be asking, why should I be in the present moment, right? Now I wrote down a couple of little bullet points on the side. That's why you see me looking to the side right here, right? But these are just things that, are very simple tips that you may know or may not know already, but I also have an overall factor that goes into these points, right? So like I said, why should I be in the present moment, right? First, it's going to reduce stress, you know what I mean? If you're stressing out over what's going on in the past or what's going on in the future, that's going to help reduce that, by not always, flip-flopping between the two, flip-flopping between two events that are no longer existing or haven't existed yet, right? It reduces anxiety of, more so looking into events that haven't happened yet, right? AKA the future, and it can also focus on the past too, right? Maybe you made some mistakes back then that's giving you anxiety now that may affect you in the present moment, right? So it reduces anxiety, reduces overthinking, right? Now, I know I made a video about this not too long ago. I'll probably put that in the description below so you could go back and watch that and get a better understanding of that, right? But I feel like this is one of the heavy hitters of, overall being in the present, right? The overthinking that it comes with when you aren't living in the presence, right? And what I hinted at in the first two tips, right? When you're trying to live out something that's already happened, or you're trying to live out something that hasn't happened yet, right? Not to make it sound too redundant, but these are the things that's going to help you overall, and why you should be in the present moment, right? You're more focused, right? You're locked in on what you need to do, on what you need to get done, for the simple fact is when you are present, right? You're focusing on what's happening in that moment, right? You could be more productive when you don't have things, distracting you and inhabiting your mind when you're not focused on what's going on in that moment, i.e., living in the past or trying to live in the future, right? You enjoy life more, right? And that's probably the main difference between all of these tips, right? Maybe I could have shortened those down, but like I said, they all go back to the overall definition and essence of being present, right? You enjoy life more because you're not focused, like I said, on the other things, right? The simplest things are just going to bring you fulfillment and overall create more joy and just joy, joy and happiness in your life, right? Whether that be going on a walk, riding your bike, waking up in the morning, doing your sheets in the morning, fixing your bed, getting dressed, putting on cologne, making sure you smell good, look good, feel good. Just things like that. The littlest things. Because you're not creating distractions. Like I said, you're not creating distractions and you're not creating chaos in your mind to where you can't just be centered and grounded, in what's going on in that very moment, right? Like I said. And basically, in a better way to put it, because I know all of these pretty much sounded the same. But like I said, I have an overall factor to all of these tips in general. I just wanted to list them out in order to get a better overall understanding of why you should try to be and strive to be present at all times, right? All of these benefits overall will just create a better connection with yourself, right? Because you'll be able to be more grounded and just be able to go through life without any, hindrance, right? You can have better relationships with the people, that you talk to, friends, families, whatever that may be, right? You just be able to overall not have, mental health issues transpire and come down the line from, not being in the present moment, right? And just a disclaimer, I'm not, a mental health counselor or a psychiatrist, anything like that. This is just me giving off my opinion and what I feel about the topic. But if you do need that help, please seek that help, right? I'm just giving out my advice, and I'm not, clinically, licensed or whatever the correct terms you would use to, to put it better in that tier or at that level, you know what I mean? But, like I said, it's pretty much simple as that. It's just going to create a better overall relationship with yourself and, the peoples, the communities, the jobs, whatever that may be. It's just going to help you be overall better mentally, right? And it's going to help you, feel more, established and grounded. You know what I mean? Those are the two things, and those are the overall factors that, I'm trying to get at with these tips, right? So moving on to the next point, why is it bad to not be in the present moment, right? Now, if we take the tips that we just talked about and pretty much reverse those, that is why it's bad to not being in the present, right? I'm not going to break down the whole thing again just to make it more clear and concise, but just to list them out again, causes you to create expectations, you know what I mean? Mostly of the future, on how, you want the future to pan out, or how you will want a certain scenario to pan out that hasn't pre-existed or already happened yet, right? You're creating that expectation on how you deem a situation to be but you can't do that because it hasn't happened yet, right? Like I said, it's going to cause you to overthink, stress yourself out. You're going to be less focused and just overall less grounded, right? And the overall factor that I'm trying to get across with this is that it can cause you to feel alive, but you're not actually living, right? Like I said at the beginning of the video, right? And this can overall be broken down into, aka, derealization, right? And what derealization is, the definition of it, I'll have it up here too, right, as I read along. A mental state where you feel detached from your surroundings, right? And I'll also have examples up here too to better overall get the emphasis of the definition of derealization. But if you look at it at face value and just, take it into your own definition of what you feel, of what the definition is, right? It's just where you feel detached from your surroundings, right? You know what I mean? You're not feeling happiness. You're not, present. You know what I mean? You're not focused on the time. You're not focused on the weather. You know what I mean? You're not focused on the days. Days just go by and it's a drag, right? But I had that listed here just to overall make it more concise, right? But those are just, a couple examples right then and there. But obviously these are just gonna, bring out more and overall, like I said, make it more concise, right? And the last thing, right, that you may be asking overall in general, right? So you listed about, what's the definition, what does it mean to be present, why I should be present, why it's bad to not be present, but what do I do to be present, right? What do I need to do? What are some things that I can do to be present, right? And these are very, very, very simple, right? And I could really just say one, but I listed out another 6 bullet points too, just to overall give you more to go off of and how to take away with this video. But the number one thing, right, is to meditate, right? Meditation, right? And I made a video about this. This is my very first video that I ever put up on this channel. Now, it's probably not the greatest. It's probably not the best. So I probably, might need to redo that one. But I'll have that listed down in the description too, so you can better overall get an understanding of that in its own topic, right? Just so I don't go on too long, right? But meditation, right? Meditation is all about being in the present moment, right? Regardless of the thoughts that's going on, regardless of what's happening in your life, in that current state, regardless of anything, right? It's mostly focusing on your breathing and just being able to still transpire and go throughout, all these things that's happening, all these thoughts and what could be going on in your current life, right? Still being calm, collected, and cool throughout that, right? And that's what meditation is going to do, later on throughout the times that you practice it and you keep practicing and keep on doing it. You're going to notice that you're able to be more concise and be more clear-minded and in control of your emotions and how you react to different situations that happen, right? You're going to be in more control of those things because you're overall getting a better understanding of how to stay calm by just focusing on your breathing, right? However long that may be, just focus on in and out. And that's the main thing, right? And that's pretty much what's gonna you be present, right? That's gonna build up you having a better overall better understanding of how to be present. And it's gonna help you practice being present more, right? So meditation, right? The second one is stretches slash yoga, right? When you're stretching, you're focusing on your breathing and the task at hand and whatever movement that may be, right? Whether that may be a butterfly stretch, right? You're sitting down, focusing on the pelvis, right? Right there, focusing on breathing, keeping a good hold, static movements like that, right? Or you may be doing, a tricep stretch, right? You're focusing on holding the tricep, right? And just breathing and feeling that hold, right? Feeling that muscle, you know, being stretched, right? That's going to help you be more present because it's going to require more mental fortitude, not to an extent degree, but just a little bit to make sure that you're doing the stretches correct and right? So that's another example of things you can do to be present, right? Number 3 is to do one thing at a time, right? Obviously, you're not going to be able to be present if you're focusing on drawing, writing, watching anime, playing basketball, and doing your hair at the same time. You know what I mean? Obviously, then, you know, it's going to be a reason why you're not able to be present and just, total chaos, trying to do each and everything, multitasking, because you're doing too much, Take it one at a time, do one thing at a time. That's going to make it easier, right then and there. So that's not too much to explain right there. Number 4, journaling, right? When you're journaling, you get a better overall understanding of your feelings, how you feel, the way you operate, and the way you think. And, like I said, most of these things don't require too much thought. Most of it is really, I feel like in my opinion, I feel like it's mostly just common sense. And that's why I try not to make this seem too complicated. But I'm listing out all these options. That way you can, take what you can from it and just overall put it in your own definition, right? So the next one, enjoying simple things, right? I touched on this a little bit already, so I'm not going to go too much into that. And the last one, number 6, is just being content, right? Just being happy with whatever is going on in life and whatever situation you may be in. Being happy you woke up. Being happy you have a house over your head, clothes on your back, food on the table, and hot water to shower with and wash with, right? Just being content, That's, self-explanatory and simple right there, right? Because when you show gratitude and you're accepting of your situation regardless of what's happening, that's going to overall create less, mental health problems and just, overall just distractions in general, right? Because you're just grateful for what you got, right? Whether that may be the smallest things or the most luxurious things, whatever it may be. When you're content and when you're accepting of what you have, it's just going to ground you, right? It's going to keep you grounded. It's going to keep you humble. And it's just going to make you appreciate more of what you have instead of focusing on what you didn't have back then or what you don't have now, right? So that's what I was mostly trying to get at in this video. Hopefully I didn't make it sound too redundant, but just learn to be and try to be present at all times because it's just going to overall help you, down the line, not only down the line, but in the very moment, right? Present in the definition itself. So with that being said, feel free to comment below if there's anything that I could have did to better overall get the point across. And some things that I may have missed out. But make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'm out.